You're listening to Real Talk Texas with local expert Steve Hakes. Now, here's Steve.
Welcome back to Real Talk Texas. Today, we're talking about life planning. And if you haven't heard of life planning, don't feel bad, because a lot of people haven't heard of life planning. And 90% of the people out there that I've talked to have never done a life plan. And being that it's the beginning of the year and everybody's trying to put their business plans together, everybody sets their goals. I hear a lot about, the fad diets and people are going to lose weight this year and all that. And one thing I'm not hearing, and I've never heard, is really somebody talk about a total life plan. And I wanted to share that with you today. I just wanted to do my part. And if you haven't done one, and if you listen to this show and maybe you missed part of it, you can always go to realtalktexas.com and listen to it after Wednesday. Paul will post it there on our shows. You can listen to all our shows there. And one of the things that you'll be able to do there is really get the details. Also, we're doing something new on our show, and it's working out really well, and that is that you're able to send a text to the show. And if you want a worksheet on how to work a life plan, and you want the cliff notes of this experience I went through, and really kind of get on your own life plan, just send a text to our show here. Just put life plan in the text and send it to 817-925-2546. That's 817-925-2546, and that's how you text Real Talk Texas. So before the break, we were talking about a couple things. One, we were talking about how to start a life plan, and that was basically do your assessment. And the assessment comes in the form of sit down and imagine that you just were killed and you're writing your own eulogy. And what you're doing in that eulogy is you're putting together what people would actually say about you today. And you've got to be really honest about where you are. You haven't had a chance to fix everything in your life yet. And then the next thing you want to do is write a second eulogy of what you really want it to look like, say, in 20 years. And so that gives you a basis of where you are now and where you want to be at the end of the day. And it's funny because it's not all about, a lot of people just talk about finance or they talk about their weight. This plan really makes you sit down and assess all the areas of your lives. We start talking about accounts. Some of the accounts that you may want to consider putting down on a piece of paper, and I recommend probably 6 accounts, maybe 8 at most. And what you do for accounts these are areas of your life. So you may have a faith account. One of my faith accounts is my relationship with God and how I practice my faith. And so there's disciplines that, what is it today? What do you want it to look like, at the end of the day? So you put that in there. And, I have a career account. What do I want to do with my career? I have a finance account. What do I want to do with my finances? And that can be broken down to other accounts as to what I do with that. Also, you put down, always put down my relationship with Dana, my spouse, and how that's going and what I want to do to nurture that. And then I have actually, a lot of people just put down a children account because I have 3 children that are very different in age. They're about 4 years apart, so they're in different stages of their lives. So I've got an account for Scott, an account for Sean, and an account for Courtney. So I'm doing this exercise at Sun River and had the opportunity to go to Building Champions about 4 years ago. And I was talking before the break about my relationship with Courtney. Yeah, well, Courtney is a beautiful girl. She was very involved in competitive cheer. My wife went to a lot of those events. I was the dad that was working on Saturdays when they were having the events. I'd show up, I knew exactly when she was going on. I'd show up 5 minutes before it. I'd see her routine, see her afterward and all those things, and then I would go back to work. That's not the best way to live your life as a father. And so it was kind of a brutal thing for me to sit down and really be honest with myself and say, I don't have the relationship with my daughter that I really want to have. I mean, Dana has a great relationship. I said before the break, I felt like I was a hunter-gatherer. I go out and bring in the money. I'm to support the family. I'm the man. Need to do that. My wife will take care of the household and take care of everything else there. And I made a mistake, in my opinion, of looking at it that way. And, I coached my son's ball teams. I coached Courtney in basketball one year, and I did some other things that were involved at a young age. But she was coming into her senior year in high school, and I sat down in Oregon and I said, wow, I really don't have the kind of relationship I really want to have with my daughter, and it was heartbreaking for me. So I said, well, how do I fix it? I mean, it's so complex. I mean, how do you fix a relationship? How do you get your little girl to become, your daddy's little girl? We always had a special way of looking at each other, but it was talking to her for me was like pulling teeth. It was one-word answers, and she just felt like she didn't relate to me. I didn't relate to her, about all the things that were going on with the girls and all that stuff. And growing up with all boys, I had a real hard time with that. With guys, guys don't talk that way. Men are from Mars, I guess. And I just really had a hard time with my boys. We could talk about sports, we could talk about things like that, and that's how guys get through it. With girls, I think they need a deeper relationship and all that. So what did I do that over that year, her senior year of high school? So I sat down and I made an account for Courtney. And in that account, I assessed where I was. And I said, I've got not the relationship I really want to have. So what do you do about it? I had 1 year to really have my daughter in my home before she went off to college. And it scared the heck out of me. And so what I did was I sat down and I came back from Oregon and I sat down with Courtney and I said, look, I've given a lot of thought to our relationship and I love you. I just feel like we never get our time together. Because every time I was with Courtney, there were always a lot of girls around. There was her mom. There was, her girlfriend's moms, things like that. It was just our house was always busy with kids and it was a great house. But I never had time to really connect with Courtney. So we did a father-daughter date. Once a month, I was committed. We put it on our calendars. One of the things you'll find in life planning is if it's not on your calendar, you won't do it. You won't do it consistently. And so we had a father-daughter date once a month, and she got to choose the venue, where we're going to go, something that would interest her. We went and saw plays. We went on dates where we just went to dinner and talked. And it was amazing for me. I mean, I really didn't have a lot of hope at the time I put the plan together because I didn't really think it was going to work as well as it did. And now that she's off at school, my life plan has changed in my account for Courtney. What my deal is there is now I make sure that I call her at least once a week. And usually when I'm driving home from work or to work, when I've got an opportunity to really just talk to her and ask questions. And I ask questions about our friends and all those things. And I do feel more connected. It's not a miracle pill. I will tell you that, it's still at times a challenge. There are certain things in her life that she doesn't feel like she can talk to her dad about, especially boys. And, I try to pull that out of her. And sometimes she'll talk to me about it, but it's still, a work in progress, and I'm never giving up on that. So, I think that there's things that you can look at through this life planning that really will make a difference. And I will tell you that it was the best gift I ever had, because had I not spent that year making that commitment to Courtney, I would not have the relationship I have today, which is great. It's going the right direction. It's not where I want it to be at the end of the day, but we'll get there. So other things you can do. Faith. I made a commitment that I was going to go to church every Sunday. For a lot of you listeners out there, that's not a big deal, but for me, it was one of those things that I needed to make sure that it was on my calendar. One of the things that you do in life planning is you write this plan out, and then the next step is you put in action items. What are you going to do? Like I just discussed with Courtney's story. You put something on your calendar. You make a commitment, and there are things called non-negotiables. A non-negotiable is something that I am the greatest negotiator. I'll say, yeah, I'm going to work out every morning, and then I'll get up in the morning. Oh, no, I got to get busy. I got to do this. I've got too much at work. I'll do it later. Well, if you put a non-negotiable appointment on your calendar, it's non-negotiable. You can't allow yourself to negotiate that away. These are the disciplines that life planning does for you that helps you get to where you want to go. You've really got to make a commitment that you're going to do the daily things. Doing the life plan is a commitment for how you're going to reshape your life, and the only way you reshape is by doing things different. And one of the things that you do is you put on your calendar each of the things that you agreed that you're going to commit to over the next 12 months. And so, if you're listening to Steve Hakes. I'm your host of Real Talk Texas. I'm sharing with you today life planning. And if you would like to get started with your own life plan, I'd be happy to share with you a worksheet that I use. And just send a text to the show here. Type in the word life plan. Send it to 817-925-2546. That's 817-925-2546. And if you're looking to refinance, just add your interest rate to it. Just tell me what your rate is today, and I'll give you the life plan. And in addition, we'll give you a free analysis of what your financial plan for your mortgage is, which is kind of a unique approach to looking at that segment. And we'll talk about that a little bit more when you come back. So stay tuned to Real Talk Texas. We're talking about life planning.